Hello everyone, welcome to the video. Today I'm going to show you how to draw a horse. So what you will need here is really simple. You just need a nice sharpened pencil and some paper. Let's begin. For step 1, we're gonna just sort of start with an outline. Just a vague sort of box that will basically show you where everything goes. And I'm sorry if the video is a little bit shaky because I had to draw with one hand and hold the camera with the other because my tripod wasn't working right. But just try to make your best. What I'm doing now is sketching out where the flat of the nose will go. And where just the muzzle will go. And this kind of just gives you the general outline to your entire horse. Don't worry at all if this doesn't look right because you'll be erasing it all in the next few steps. Alright, so during the cut I did take a little bit of time to clean up the lines, but now we're going to get really serious with the actual horse. We're going to start outlining the actual sort of face with it, and don't worry to sort of sketch around to see what makes sense. Right now I'm just sort of doing the eye. And it's easy just if you start with the top where the ears will be and then work your way down the nose and then back up the jaw. Right now is the bridge of the nose, which is the sort of, it's what makes your horse look like whatever breed you're trying to do. This one's just a sort of a standard bred, but what you could do is, if you make the bridge of the nose a bit flatter, it would make it more of a thoroughbred, where you could make it dented in, you'd have an Arabian. If you made it dented out, you'd have more of a draft. And here we're just sort of outlining the muzzle and the bottom half of the jaw, and then we'll go up and do the rest of the jawbone. This is really important because it sort of gives your horse that dimension, if you know what I mean. It just kind of adds that little extra touch if you have all the individual lines. So try not to stress too much about the ears. On horses, I've always had trouble getting the ears quite right, but a good trick is to hide it with the forelock, where you can just kind of do one ear about like maybe the tip of it. Because then you can use the forelock just to kind of smooth it out and make it not look quite as bushy. Alright, so for step 3, I already went and erased all the lines that I drew in step 1. And so now we're just kind of going to go and add in all the little details. Starting with this sort of arrow that goes down the face that kind of gives it the sort of hilly, sort of the hills and valleys of the horse's face. And also helps if you want to draw blades. Then we're going to go in and sort of outline the crease of the nose and just the cheekbones, and then we'll go and put the eye in later. And then, as you can see here, I'm just sort of outlining the cheeks, just to make sure that you have kind of more dimension to it. The little triangle that I just drew, that kind of gives it, when painting, which I'll do another video on painting this, if you leave that a little bit more, if you leave that a bit lighter, it makes the entire thing sort of, gives it another dimension to it. And then here we're just doing a really simple nostril. Make sure that you have that extra line on top, because that gives it a little bit more of the sort of roofed effect. And for this, just make the mouth go a little bit higher up, and here we start on the eye. So the eyes are really important because they kind of give the entire story of the horse, if that made no sense. So basically, all you have to do is, you don't draw it like a human eye at all, because their eyes aren't human at all. Horses actually have the biggest eyes of any mammal, of any land mammal. And an important thing to do is to make sure, because they have, instead of just the circular pupils, they have oval pupils that sort of go more horizontal. And then, if you see the lines that I'm doing now, those kind of give it the eye that, I'm not sure how to say it. They just kind of give the eye another dimension to it. And then, make sure that you get all of the eye, because it doesn't have to be exactly level with the other little bump that you did on the outside to match with the eye. But then here we're going to do the temples, and those have to be you have to place them pretty well because then they help with the eye. They help sort of give it that dimension. Alright, now for step 3, we're going to add in a few more lines for the cheekbones, just to sort of outline the cheek, and then we're going to add in the forelock and the mane. So as you can see, these little extra lines do add quite a lot of dimension to it, because it gives it that sort of, you can see where the bone is, but you can see where the open part is, and then adding a little bit of a line by the mouth does sort of give it that, oh, this is more, it's a bit more, elevated from the rest of the horse. And so here, with the forelock, don't do just a bunch of lines straight, because while that looks like hair, it does not quite have that effect. It's easiest just to sort of do these lines that I'm doing, this kind of curve, and it kind of sort of, it doesn't give all the hair effects, but when it comes to painting, it helps a lot, because you can see, it sort of just gives it that like, oh, look at this. And see, we're doing the same thing for the mane here. And also, this works a lot if you want to do a braided mane, or a braided forelock. You just make the lines a lot closer together. But see, this does give it more of an effect of, oh, it's like flowing more and it's more wavy. And when you paint this part, it does make it a lot better than if it's just lines or straight lines. So now we're going to add a halter, and it's just going to be a basic halter that you can find in any really tack store. And it's not going to be one of those fancy rope halters, because I don't even know how to make those or use them. It's just going to be one of those classic buckle halters. And basically, the easiest thing to do is just kind of sketch it out, find the placement. It's nice, I kind of start with the, I start with the strap at the top of the head first. Sorry, I don't remember this. And then I go down to the throat latch, except for it's not a throat latch, and then just kind of work my way off from there. And a good idea is to use a circle at the top but then use a square on where they connect farther down, because that kind of, it gives it a little bit more dimension to it. And then here I'm just going to add a sort of just clip buckle-y thing just underneath it. Don't get too stressed about what that looks like, because it's not that important. Not many people look at it. And then off of that I'm just going to put in the lead rope. And that, you can kind of give it a gentle curve, like it's being held back somehow. And then I like to put the lines down through it, just so it gives that a little bit of that sort of braided technique. Well, not really technique, braided feeling. And it also looks really nice if you have that on first and then after you paint it, because I like to use watercolor paints, and though it shows the lines, but it also kind of outlines it as well. And there you are finished with your standard horse.